Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Seal of Approval.
Hello there, and welcome back to Seal of Approval, the podcast bringing you weekly judgments on the latest movie news and reviews. I'm Callum, your host, and today I'm joined by my two guests, Nat and Hogan.
Hello. That music is so hype. Every time it speaks to me, man. It's bum, 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 bum.
Yeah, and thank you, Yunte, for that. Praise Yunte. Hogan, to introduce yourself, do you want to tell us one of your top 25 movies of all time and why you think it's so good?
Absolutely. I'm going to have to say Batman Begins.
Ooh.
And the reason I say that one over Nolan's other two Batman films is because I like the story arc and the way it builds up to Bruce Wayne becoming Batman. I think that one does a really good job of giving the backstory and showing his emotions that lead him to his decisions, just ultimately becoming the Bat.
That's all it is. It's not even like Batman. He transforms into a literal bat.
Be the Bat. Yeah.
And it's got so many good quotes. I mean, like with The Dark Knight, all the best quotes come from the Joker, but that one, it's like him dropping in on people and like, I'm Batman. That doesn't get any better.
Rachel.
Yes. Grace Sully, you've been poisoned. Yeah, I love that one. I've seen all of the Nolan Batman films several times, but I think I've seen that one the most at probably 14 or 15 times.
Dang. I think I've seen like 14 or 15 films in general.
Yeah, I don't watch a lot of movies, but when I find one I like, I'll just burn it to the ground. I'll watch it so many times.
Well, it's a good movie, so I also have seen it many times. Not sure if I've seen it 14 times, but same goes for you, Nat. Do you want to give us another of your favourite movies and tell us why?
Okay, I am a sucker for stupid comedy, so I will go for Kung Fu Panda. Kung Fu Panda. I love Kung Fu Panda. It's just so dumb and beautiful, and I love Jack Black. Jack Black is like my type of lol, if that makes sense. My family's just humor sits on Jack Black level, and if you think that's a good thing or a bad thing, I don't really want to know right now. It's a good time. I love it. We were in the movie theater when it first came out, and my whole family was just sitting in a row. And in the intro, when he's just like talking over that old school Chinese like animation style, and he's like, I am Po, and he's just dropping all of these stupid Jack Black one-liners, and we were crying in laughter. And the rest of the audience, the rest of the people in the theater had no idea what we were laughing at. And so that's like one of my favorite memories in a movie theater ever, because my family was literally dying in the front row and everybody else was silent. And we were like, okay, clearly you guys were not made for this. You weren't made for this film. And it wasn't made for you.
I see you like to chew. Would you like to chew? On my fist!
Yeah.
I remember when it came out, I had a friend who worked at a movie theater near my house, and he would always get me in for free. And so I went like in the middle of the day and saw it. And I was like, that was really good. And then my mom was calling me to go home. So I went home. And right when I got there, she's like, hey, we're going to the movie. We're going to see Kung Fu Panda. So I went and saw it again, like the very next showing.
Well done. What's up with you and just watching movies on repeat, man?
Hey, well, I don't know if that one cracks my list, but I saw that movie multiple times. So pretty good.
I agree. It was great. I'm not a big fan of the other Kung Fu Panda movies, but I think the first one is really well made and tightly written. So I appreciate your choice.
Yes.
And for me, this week I'm going to go with, I think I'll go with the Snyder Cut. No, just kidding.
Bold.
I was like, honestly, I was surprised to hear that from you.
I had no thoughts. I was like, this man, is he for real?
No, we did watch it this past week, a group of us, and it was a chore. Um, it's still better than the Whedon cut, but it was just so bloated.
Yeah.
To be honest, it's most likely the best DCEU movie hidden in there somewhere, but you need to cut at least an hour.
I haven't watched all of it yet, just because it's so long that I just can't force myself to sit for that long. Mm-hmm. But the thing that shocked me the most was how long the intro to the movie was. That I was like, I'm sitting here, I'm like 15 minutes in, and I don't feel like the movie has actually started yet.
Bro, just you wait till the epilogue. It just keeps going. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I look less slow-mo, less hero poses, less Norwegians singing and sniffing Aquaman's jumper, and I'll be happy. It just needs like an actual cut.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, what I'm actually going to say for this week is The Prestige. Another Nolan film that is just so brilliantly executed. It kind of opened my mind.
That one was one of the other ones that I was considering saying.
It just it really brilliantly displays that kind of cyclical storytelling, where the setups and payoffs sort of loop back, to the point that you enjoy the movie even more in repeat viewings. Yeah. Because, it's like Kung Fu Panda. I enjoy it every time I watch it. But with The Prestige, there are things that I noticed each time I watched it. Because it's recontextualized, whereas, a lot of movies, it's like, well, I know what's going to happen, so I'm just going to enjoy it because I like the way it went. Whereas I feel like Nolan's film often have me finding new things that I'm like, oh my goodness, that's genius.
Oh, that's always nice.
I feel like a lot of his films, they kind of feel like you watch it and then you're like, I need to watch this again so that I can understand it. But that one was one of the ones where you hit the end of the movie and you're excited to watch it again because now you've got new information.
Agreed. Well, now that we've let everyone judge our taste, let's move on to the all-important points. And we start, as usual, with round one.
Movie news highlights of the week.
In this round, I offer up clues to each of my guests, and they gain a point if they correctly guess which movie news item it refers to. And let's start this week with Hogan.
Let's do it.
Good luck.
Hogan, your first clue. Which film is in the twilight of its production?
I'm going to have to guess Batman with Robert Pattinson.
You are spot on.
I'm like, what else could it be?
I completely forgot that was a thing, that they had given him the role of Batman, and I remember seeing a meme about it ages ago, and then it just whoop, out of my brain until right now, till this very moment. That's still happening?
Robert Pattinson, as people are calling him now. Yes, no, you're quite right. After multiple COVID setbacks, The Batman, directed by Matt Reeves and starring Robert Pattinson, has officially wrapped shooting. So, going on the theme of Batman Begins, are you excited for another Batman? What are your guys' thoughts on Robert Pattinson, other than memeable content?
Yeah, I was going to say I forgot about it, so obviously it's not really that exciting to me. But now, I guess, yeah, I could do with another Batman. Just keep them coming. They're everywhere.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about it. I love Batman. Like, as a kid, he was always my favorite comic book hero, but I don't know. I'm curious to see how it comes across, because there's been a lot of different Batmen in our short lifetime, and I don't know how it'll do, but I'm excited for it. I'll definitely give it a shot.
It's like the Willy Wonka situation. Do we need another one? But it's like, it's okay that there is going to be another one, I guess, as long as they don't botch him completely. But old R. Pats has been doing pretty well lately. Wasn't he in that creepy priest one on Netflix?
Yeah, there was. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah,
but
with Tom Holland.
One he was in. Yeah.
And everybody was giving him praise because he's actually doing a decent job at acting.
It's like the devil inside or something like that?
Something like that. And apparently he did a really good job in that movie, so that got people hyped for the memeable Batman. So if he can kind of channel some of his
devil all
hype,
the time.
Yes. Right, yeah.
So none of us watched it?
No.
Okay, that's cool.
No.
but we'll have to believe that he did a good job.
I have heard a lot of good things about it.
Look, I feel sorry for him. I think we probably brought this up before, but Twilight was one is terrible script.
You nicknamed my daughter after the Loch Ness monster.
But like everything that he's been in after that I've either heard of or personally seen has been really good. So I've either heard that he's done really well, or like, you know, if he's either of you seen The Lighthouse? That's a really good one.
Nope.
Willem Dafoe.
Yeah.
So and he's fantastic in that. So just kind of, I'm convinced by him as an actor. I do kind of think it's funny. I don't know if you've seen the size difference between him and his
I haven't.
His stunt double is absolutely jacked. He's massive.
Yeah, see, that was one of the things I wondered about. Like, in some of the comic books, Bruce Wayne dies, and Dick Grayson, the first Robin, takes over as Batman.
Mhm.
And so my thought was like, he would make a really good Dick Grayson Batman because of his stature. But trying to fit him into the role of Bruce Wayne, that's where I'm kind of curious to see how they'll do it. I'm not sure about it.
It could be a fun path for them to go down, though. Eh?
Yeah.
So have they
Yeah.
confirmed that he's going to be Bruce Wayne, or just that he's going to be Batman? Because he very well could be the old Bibby Batman.
I have no
I forgot
idea.
what his name was.
Um,
Robin.
Yep. Robin Batman.
Bibby Batman.
I'm pretty sure he is Bruce Wayne as
I'm
opposed to
pretty
Dick
sure
Grayson.
too.
So it's just funny seeing, because I know there were concerns about him not working out enough and being the right size for Batman. Because, you know, if you're going to go beat up criminals on the street, you do have to have a certain level of, you know, strength.
That's so unfortunate.
Yeah.
Like, imagine getting a superhero role and then everybody's like, I think he's too twiggy. This man's
Too small.
He's got a snap.
But I mean, if you look at like the different actors that played Batman in the 90s, none of them were really like huge men.
Hmm.
Like, I mean,
Yeah.
Michael Keaton, George Clooney, they're all like decently sized, but they're not big. Christian Bale was the first one that we had live action that came in and was like just a brick house.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, it's the first time also that really you have Batman properly beating people up, as opposed to being a bit more slapstick. But however, I think this movie is we're supposed to see more of the detective side of Batman. So I'm excited for that, because we haven't really seen that outside of the comics or the animated movies, you know. So I'm definitely interested in that.
Mhm.
What have you? So you've seen the costume. What do you make of the new costume?
I haven't seen it. I'll Google it now.
Yeah, I mean,
Hogan. Yeah,
it's Batman for sure.
yeah. It's a lot more like the Arkham Asylum games, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like it looks a lot more like actual armor. You know.
It's kind of a mixture of like Christian Bale armor and like some of the different comic book style armors.
Oh, he looks. See, he looks all right. People, I thought you were. Yeah, he looks like Batman. When people were saying that he doesn't look like Batman, I guess maybe with the suit and stuff, it does. It definitely makes it obvious. But he looks good. He looks good. That looks fun.
Yeah, it doesn't look like hockey pads.
I'm not wearing hockey pads. So along with Patterson, the movie is also going to be starring Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman, Paul Dano as the Riddler, Colin Farrell as Penguin, Andy
Ooh.
Serkis as Alfred, the butler, and Jeffrey Wright as Commissioner Gordon. So that's a cast to be excited about, to be fair. Speaking of Commissioner Gordon, it was actually Gary Oldman's 63rd birthday this week.
Happy
Of course, he
birthday.
was Gordon in the Nolan films, so it's quite right. But yes, I don't know. I'm optimistic. The trailer looked pretty great. I enjoy Matt Reeves' work. I really liked his Planet of the Apes trilogy, so I'm excited for it again, especially just having watched the Snyder Cut. I feel like I'm seeing a lot of Batman at the moment. You almost feel like there needs to be more of a break in between iterations of Batman. But
Yeah, that's like if they came out with a Tom Holland Spider-Man movie and then did another Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movie like 6 months before.
And then a Tobey Maguire as well. What's up with the logo? The Batman logo on his chest. It's missing its head.
Yeah.
It's a headless bat. How's it gonna see?
Yeah, I don't know. There's some rumors about that's actually the revolver that killed Bruce Wayne's parents, that he is taken apart and merged into the symbol.
Oh, that's cool.
We shall see. It's finally wrapped, so hopefully we won't have to wait too much longer.
Do they have a date set for release yet?
When the teaser dropped, this was obviously pre-COVID. They'd only shot about 20% of the movie by then. And that said, coming in 2021. But I find that hard to believe now. I'm sure it'll be pushed right back to next year. Just because, they've had to close down so many times. I think three times, maybe more, just because they were shooting in the UK and COVID's running rampant. So they did have a few setbacks. But hopefully not too long to wait. Okay, moving on. Now I have a clue for Nat. So, what news has people getting ready to thank their mums?
Thank their mums. This is different. Oh, that's the reference. You put the emphasis on thank their mums, so that's the hint that I get there.
Getting ready to thank their mums and their dads and their friends.
Oh wait, no, the Oscars. No, the Grammys. The Oscars?
Yeah, no, you're right.
Which one
the
is
Oscars,
the movies?
yes.
Which one is the movies?
It is the Oscars.
I thought it was like a very specific quote about, like some your mom joke that got lost in the movie world somewhere. But okay, that was good.
You're like Napoleon Dynamite?
This isn't Disney Star Wars we're talking about. So.
Oh, sweet.
No, your mama jokes here. Yes. No, you're quite right. All the Oscar nominations have been released for our viewing pleasure. So before we kind of go into the specifics, what do you guys think of the Oscars in general? Is it something you follow? Or?
Not really. My bad. But I did look up the list because I think someone on the radio was talking about it. And was it last year or the year before where there was the big, there's not enough cultural diversity in the Oscars. And then I just scrolled through the nominees and whatnot nowadays. And it seems like they're kind of overcompensating. I haven't seen the movies, but, they've just decided to go from having barely any African-American directors, actors in there to now a lot, which is good, which is really good. But it's like, come on, you didn't need that push over the edge, surely. You could have just nominated people for what they were.
Especially when the Academy who are like selecting the nominations, they're still all white.
Oh.
Yeah.
So it's...
I saw that they had, what's his name? He played Glenn in the Walking Dead, Steven, I can't remember his last name.
Just Steven.
Yeah, Steven. But he was like the first Asian American actor to be nominated for Best Actor.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, forget what his name is. Yeah, lots of first. This is something that Hollywood are kind of preoccupied at the moment looking good.
Yeah, wokeness.
And, a lot of the measures that they take aren't necessarily that helpful. But yeah, it's funny because I don't care. It's good to have diversity. It's more that. When I don't know if you saw Ricky Gervais hosted the Oscars. I can't remember if it was last year or the year before. And he took it upon himself to remind everybody that the Oscars is about film. And so nobody really cares about their political opinions, especially when they are raised in a bubble and live in a bubble of wealth and people telling them that they're awesome. So they can't really relate to what's going on in the rest of the world. And people obviously promptly ignored him. But, lots of awkward laughs as people realised that he was spitting the truth. But anyway, it was just really nice to see because Parasite won Best Picture. And I think Bong Joon-ho, something like that, the Korean director, he's... Parasite was amazing, by the way. The editing, pacing, everything. So,
terrifying.
Yes, yeah. My missus, she was really enjoying it until, that kind of...
Yep, I know exactly what point. I know exactly what happened.
peeking over the
exactly.
stairs.
Yuck, yuck.
Yeah, exactly. And then she was like, "No, what am I watching?"
Yeah.
But she was too invested at that point, so she had to watch the rest of it. But
Oh yeah.
but yeah, brilliant movie. But it's so nice to see him get up, accept the Oscars, and talk about how much he loved film and that impact it had on his life, and just that he was grateful to be here and celebrating movies. And it's just nice for the Oscars to kind of return to that for a brief moment,
Yeah.
rather than people getting up there. And you can thank your mum and your dad, but there's no need to tell everybody that we should be more representative.
Yeah. Yeah, my wife's family is pretty, like, before I met my wife, I never watched the Oscars, but my wife's family, they love it, and they watch it every year. They have a big party and do like, print out little papers for everyone to guess which films they think will win, and then they have prizes for whoever gets the most and things. So they go all out and they love it. So just in the past few years, I've really started getting into following it a little bit more and watching it. And I definitely see the fun in it, but I also see a lot more which are the films that are made to just pander to the Oscars in an attempt to win. And then they're always like the ones that are nominated and the ones that they feature and usually win. And it's always like, they're always great films, but they're always just so cookie cutter, made to fit into what the Oscars is looking for, and they check all the boxes.
All that Oscar bait.
Yeah, and so it's nice to see when there is a movie like Parasite that really is an incredible film, and then it wins.
Yeah, especially when there's nothing really in there that's quote unquote Oscar bait, but there is just incredible filmmaking, which is what it should be about, right?
What was the two movies that got confused? Was it a couple of years ago?
Oh, it was Moonlight. And the one
Was
with
it
Emma
La La
Stone
Land?
and Ryan Gosling. Yeah, La La Land.
Which one actually won, and which one got the?
It was a Moonlight one, and they gave the guy the wrong card, and so he
the Miss Universe
read La La
treatment.
Land. Yeah.
Awkward. Yeah. I would not want to be that guy.
Imagine being that guy. Oh,
I'm sure he's still not over it. But
Oh yeah.
remember that time you had one job?
pretty much.
Your job was literally read the card, and we gave you the wrong card, and now you look like an idiot.
Yeah. You are the face of everybody's failure, like that's. But yeah, I mean, when I used to work at a VFX company, they would have it playing on all the screens across all our buildings. So when it was on, and it was pretty cool, especially when our work had been nominated. It's always nice. I've always followed who the winners are. I've never actually felt the need to watch the actual ceremony. For a start, it goes on for a very long time. It's like a Snyder cut. It's incredibly bloated.
I think it's longer than the Snyder Cut, really.
But yeah, I mean, it's good to have awards and things to strive for, and to hopefully have some kind of a standard where we're all being inspired to make better films. I think the Oscars can sort out the way that they give out those awards.
I think the thing that was most interesting this year for me was noticing how many of these films I hadn't even heard of coming out.
Yeah.
Like I read through the list of all the nominations, and there was probably less than half of them I'd even heard of, and then only like a few that I had seen. It's just interesting with the pandemic.
Yeah, especially for Best Picture. I think I've seen 3 of those nominations. And then the visual effects is one that I always keep track of. I mean, I worked on some of those. So that's why I keep track of it. So I've seen more of those. And then the other one that I like to keep an eye out for is Best Animated Feature Film, just because I'm always rooting for not Disney. So, for example, this year you have Wolf Walkers, which is an incredible film, and especially in terms of the dedication to their style of animation. It's highly recommend go check that out. But the chances of it not going to Disney Pixar for Soul or onward is very slim.
Oh yeah.
Which is a shame, but it's just nice to actually have other well-crafted animations appreciated. But so guys, I'm interested in how your own acceptance speeches would go.
Oh, I've dreamt about this for absolutely no reason. How would I? Who would I think? Why would I think? But then I always just trip over my words in my dreams, so this will not go well. You go first, Hogan.
Share with us your dreams.
I think if I were to win, I would take a page out of the book of the YouTuber Bill Wirtz. He makes like really weird short YouTube videos. And a few years ago, he won like one of those internet award show things. He won some award, and they made the whole scene of it, like playing the music and filming him slowly walking down the aisle and waving. And then he got up to the microphone and he leaned in and he said, "Thank you." And then he just left and he walked out of the building. And I think that's what I would do. I would take my award and I would just go home.
Fair enough.
I mean, I would stick around for the free food and then possibly go home. But
No, you'll catch him at Macca's.
Yeah.
just how many nuggets can I get for this this little award I've got here?
Me and my award would walk into Carl's Jr. and call it a night.
Okay, Nat, you've had time to prepare. How would your acceptance speech go?
It would probably be incohesive and through tears, because I there's like a timer that I have in front of actual groups of people. If I am up there for too long, I will start crying. And so they start playing the music, right? That's like the classic thing. They start playing the music before you're supposed to leave the stage.
Yeah, shoo them off.
Yeah, and I feel like I would overtalk and overstay my welcome, and so they'd start playing the music, and then I'd just start crying, and then I'd probably fall over, pull a Jennifer Lawrence, and run away. I'd forget someone, but I'd definitely be like, "Thank you to my family and to my fans." Mwah. and then tears and clumsiness.
That sounds.
Did you actually want me to say it?
Is that a dream or a nightmare? I don't know. I can't tell.
It probably would also end in McDonald's as well. It's just part of me. That's who I am.
I'm torn between either being really humble or just being like, you know what, I won this, and just rubbing it in people's faces. I'd like to thank you, sir, for not believing in me, and you.
Or like, what was it? What's his name? The guy from Manchester by the Sea.
Ben Affleck's brother.
Casey Affleck. Yeah. When he won and he was up against like Denzel Washington, and he's like thanking Denzel and saying how much of an inspiration he was, and then they pan over to Denzel and he's just like glaring at him from the audience.
He's just stolen. Yeah, to be fair, it would definitely depend on who was there in the audience as well. I feel like if you were there, I'd have to give a shout out to my bros or make some kind of remark like, I'm so grateful that I could be this successful, and I'm sorry that you weren't able to be as well.
Listen to my podcast.
That does sound like the type of speech you'd hear from Callum.
The shameless plugs.
I'm sorry that you couldn't all be as successful as me. That there could really only be one best.
I'll let you see my trophy once.
But don't touch it.
By the way, to my family at home, we all know I'm the favorite child. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, that's exactly how it would go.
And then they'd be like, "Oh no, you didn't win. It was this other film. Sorry, my bad."
Oh, we got the wrong card. My bad. Oh damn! Let me just go jump over a bridge. They got dark. Sorry, I didn't mean that. Let me go drown myself in McDonald's. Is what I
yeah, exactly.
Don't cut it out. Don't cut it out.
Before we carry on, I did also want to mention, as per our discussion about the Razzies last episode, that for the Oscars this year, Glenn Close has been nominated for the Best Supporting Actress Oscar, and also the Worst Supporting Actress Razzie for her role in Hillbilly Elegy. Clearly a polarizing performance.
She was nominated for both the best and worst for the same performance?
Yes.
That's amazing. That is an accomplishment. Even if she doesn't win either of them, she was nominated for both, which, yes, well done. Talent, we stan.
Well, it just means that forever when people are saying, like, you're the worst actor ever, and you've got the award to prove it, she's like, yes, but I also have a Best Actress award.
Oh, yeah.
So clearly a very polarizing performance. Moving on, I'll open this next clue up to either of you. So first person to jump in with the right answer gets the point. So you guys ready?
No.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Born ready.
Well,
Oh, this is going to be interesting.
yeah, we'll see whether that confidence pays off or not. Okay, here goes. Who's been saying, "Let there be another release date"?
I'm going to guess. Oh, wait. Do you have another hint?
I do have a hint, so not another clue, but I have one word for you.
Okay.
A little hint. Symbiotic.
Oh, Venom.
Oh, Nat.
Ooh.
Steal it away. You're quite right. Yeah.
Oh, it's either that or protein shake.
That's almost as embarrassing as reading off the wrong title on the awards. So.
Honestly, I was going to guess David Ayer for Suicide Squad because I was reading about him wanting to be able to do an air cut for his movie.
Yeah, and the studio telling him, no.
Yeah. No, we just spent
Don't do
$70
it.
million on Zack Snyder's 4-hour-long film. We're not doing that again.
Yeah. And you're quite right, Nat. Venom, Let There Be Carnage is the sequel to the 2018 movie starring Tom Hardy, and it has been delayed by 3 months, so meaning it will now release on the 17th of September, where it won't have to compete with Bond's No Time to Die. Did you enjoy the Venom movie?
Yeah, I did. I think it was pretty good. I also watched that one in the cinemas, but I walked in I thought I had timed it right to skip the ads, but then I ended up skipping the first 15 minutes of the movie as well. I really did not time it correctly. But
Okay.
I think it was really, the only thing I'm confused about it with all these villain backstory movies that are coming out, Cruella de Vil is getting one as well, and they're just making these villains far too likable. Like in Venom, the first one, I was just like, isn't he supposed to be the big bad? Aren't we supposed to hate this guy? I like the character that they've made and the situation that they've got going on. It's sick, but how are they going to make us not like him? Kind of the same thing that happened with WandaVision. She was the bad guy, and then they just brought in a bigger bad to make her the good guy again. I don't want them to do something like that just won't make sense in my very simple brain. If you give him 2 movies, he's a good guy in both of those movies. But then when you try to make him the bad guy again, I'm not going to register, and I'm going to be cheering for the wrong team, you know? My poor little soul can't handle it.
Yeah, well, you got to choose between Tom Hardy and Tom Holland.
Oh, Battle of the Toms!
Yeah, that is an interesting question, though. I mean, the sort of anti-hero movies, like I said, we've got Morbius coming out as well, so there's a fair few of them in the pipeline. I think it's hard because you do want sympathetic villains, right? You know, that's part of what made Thanos so great, is that you could appreciate where he's coming from. And then it's more a question of, do your means justify the ends? Oh, no, the other way around. Do your ends
I
justify
just
the means?
agreed with just agreed with you. Keep going. Let him have it.
Yeah, or we can see why you were led to this path, even though we don't agree with the path. You know what I mean? It's okay to have that sort of connection with the villain, but when you are saying, oh, this villain is a hero, and now he's not just because we have another hero that we prefer, you know,
right.
then that is, I guess, where it falls down for me, you know. And I guess they kind of tried to do that with Venom, he literally eats people's heads, but I don't know, it's kind of, he's still too much of a good guy to then...
Yeah.
When you're being, if he's going around and, he's targeting villains or criminals, but if he's literally eating them and then you try and play that as heroic, it does seem like a bit of a conflict.
It is a really good point, and that's often what happens with, most film and TV is they go too much into what people like. They'll just keep digging into things because they know people want to see more. And so they'll make one horror movie that does really well because people love the monster. But the reason they liked it is because you only showed it for a couple of minutes in the film. You hardly showed it at all. and people like it because they don't know much about it. But then when you go and make, 15 movies about that monster and you show it so many times throughout, it loses that magic. And so I think that they kind of do the same thing with all of these villains. People love them. They want to see more of them. But it's better to leave the people wanting rather than keep giving more information and showing them more. And like you said, kind of more, I guess for lack of a better term, humanizing these people that you really would be better off if you knew less about them.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, the classic example is Jaws, right? The first movie's so great, and then they did another 2, 3, however many after that. And they progressively showed more of the shark. And that kind of took away from the magic, the threat of the shark. It's hard to compete with your imagination. So if you're letting your mind fill in the blanks, and then you come in with this really cool reveal, then you want to leave a movie going, oh man, I just wish I could have more of that. Yeah, and I completely agree. I think it is definitely the same with Venom. I think it'll be really interesting to have him be in a movie with Spider-Man, because you need a hero. And I wouldn't even mind as well, if you had Venom teaming up with Spider-Man just to defeat another threat, but it's because, they both have to. I mean, I guess there's kind of becoming a trope now where, you've got Batman versus Superman where they fight and then they team up to fight the real villain, And,
well, because of Martha,
Yeah.
Martha!
Why did you say that name? But yeah, I mean, I think of I compare it to Sauron from Lord of the Rings. He's my favorite villain of all time. And a lot of that to me is because you don't really see a lot of him in his physical form in the armor throughout the movies. It's like they show a couple little clips and that's it. And they don't really give you a lot of information on who he is or what he is or where he came from. And if you read the books, they give you a little bit more. But if you want to learn a lot more, it's you can go read the Silmarillion and it's all laid out there. But for the movies themselves, the magic comes from seeing less. And that's always kind of how I felt about Venom. There's a lot of him in the comic books. And, there's a few times where Peter Parker and Venom have to work together or whatever. And I think often it is with Carnage whenever they bring Carnage around. So I'd be curious to see if that's what they do and they make them work together. But I feel like that would be hard to do without Spider-Man and Venom having any prior history.
Yeah.
Normally they've been enemies for a long time and they have to work together to defeat whatever enemy it is. But for them to first meet and be working together would be a really interesting spin on it.
No, I agree. And Andy Serkis is directing this movie. So, and he's got all the experience with mocap, so it seems like he's perfect fit for the director. But yeah, as you said, as teased at the end of the first film and as the title hints, Woody Harrelson will play the serial killer Cletus Cassidy, who ends up hosting the Carnage symbiote, which is a really evil
creepy
creature.
Red guy.
Yeah.
Creepy red boy.
A serial killer given superpowers.
Yeah, a little bit more than a creepy red guy, I guess.
Again, is interesting because even if you gave him a bit of a backstory, we would go, oh my goodness, that's so sad that happened to him and that took him down this path. But nobody's sat there going, oh, well, I guess I'll just forgive him for all the people he's murdered. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like that's more of an interesting way to develop a villain. And you bring a point. I reckon either you do it like that, you do the Thanos route, or you do it the Sauron route, where you just give little information and he's just that imposing threat the whole way. He's the evil to contend with, and that helps you understand the stakes of the real threat that you're under. It would be like, imagine giving a backstory to the Ringwraith.
Yeah.
Oh.
Just you have a flashback as he's about to stab Frodo, and it's about him as a boy.
His children.
Yeah.
Tolkien's estate comes out and they're like, hey, guess what? We wrote 9 new books.
No.
One for each Ringwraith.
Yeah. Yes, less is more, as they say.
I've got this great little just battle scene going on in my brain with Thanos versus Sauron, and then friggin' Venom's in the mix there. The Ringwraith is there now. I've still got Cruella de Vil just hanging around from my previous. Now with Jaws little shark, just the fin is like circling.
Just the
and
fin.
just the fin is just circling in the grass, and it's a beautiful visual. I wish I could draw it, but I'm not that talented. So we'll just have to leave it up to your imagination. Yeah, just this big clash.
The supervillain pub just sat around chatting about failing to rule the world. And with that, we're on to round 2.
Mostly rotten.
In this round, my guests have to guess the Rotten Tomato scores for various movies, and the closest guess wins the points. And today, seeing as it's a running theme, we're going to have a look at some Batman movies.
All right.
Not the Nolan films, the live-action films that predate the Christopher Nolan Batman films. So we're going to start with Batman, the 1989 movie. So that's starring Jack Nicholson as the Joker and Michael Keaton as the Batman.
Classic.
So, Hogan, would you like to start by giving us the critic score?
The critic score. I'm going to say that they liked it and gave it an 87%.
87. Okay. And for you, Nat?
Having played this game before, I'm going to... I don't remember whose tactic it was, but I'm going to steal it. I'm going to go with 86. 86%.
Taking a leaf out of Charles' book.
Charles, yep.
You know, and it pains me to say this, but it has paid off for you. Because it is 71%.
Did you just Price is Right me?
Filthy. That was great. Oh, my dear.
71%, which is still pretty generous, considering this is before superheroes are the mainstream. You know what I mean? Superhero movies.
I love and hate Jack Nicholson's makeup in that. Like the smile is just so unsettling. It's great. It does the job, and it haunts my dreams.
Yeah, I mean, when I think of Joker makeup, I think, and I forget the actor's name, but from the original, you know, the Adam West Batman, and the fact that you can very clearly see that he still has a mustache, they've just painted over it because he didn't want to shave. You know, it's like the original Henry Cavill Superman.
That whole show is just like a goof. They just did not care.
A goof.
And it's amazing. It's, ironically, I prefer it to Snyder's version. So, okay, so Nat, do you want to guess the audience score? Remove your ability to use filthy tactics.
I see what you did there. I think that the audience is much easier to please than the critics are, so they would have rated it a bit higher. So I'm going to say 81.
81. Okay, and how about you, Hogan?
I'm going to stick with 87.
Well, paid off for you this time because it is 84%.
Let's go.
Ooh, wait.
Very close. Oh, hang on. No, it's an even...
right in the middle.
Oh, man. Got me going for a second there. There you go. Yes, a point to each of you.
Callum can't math.
You should have been here last episode. You'll soon discover that most of the people on the show can't math. Okay, so...
I can't either.
Okay, so moving on to Batman Returns. 3 years later in 1992. So again, still with Michael Keaton and Tim Burton. So there's Selena Kyle, Catwoman, Michelle Pfeiffer, and then also Danny DeVito as the Penguin. Nat, do you want to start off by giving us the critic score?
Okay. Well, they're like the last one. And this one, let's go with, I'm going to hover around my safety zone at the moment. So maybe 80. We'll just leave it at 80. Just go 80. Mm-hmm.
And for you, Hogan?
I'm going to go a little bit lower because I feel like sequels generally don't perform as well in the eyes of the critics.
But
so
did you see Michelle 70. As Catwoman?
Hey, I'm saving that for the fans score.
Okay, so what was that, Hogan? You're locking in
70.
Well, I can reveal it is 80% exactly.
Oh. Wow.
I was going to jump. I was going to go to like 85. I was even going to steal your number, 87 there, Hogan, but I'm glad I did not. I'm not going to lie. I stopped at 80 because I felt like I had dragged my 80 on for too long. And so I just left it there, left it in the air. So,
Well, you get a bonus point for that, for getting it spot on.
Yeah,
So.
honestly, I'm impressed.
heckin' yes. Oh, you can't see, but I'm victory dancing.
Okay, we'll have to share some victory dances from that. Maybe as a seal
We'll leave
snack
that to
on
the
YouTube.
imagination.
Nice. I see what you did there. What, because it's always going to be better than reality. So,
Exactly.
Hogan, would you like to redeem yourself and give us the audience score?
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Michelle Pfeiffer, Catwoman, the Michelle Pfeiffer of every little boy's dreams from the early 80s and 90s. So I'm going to have to say 83.
83%. And for you, Nat?
I'm gonna go with 90. That's
90.
it. Lock it in,
Wow.
Jim.
Well, surprisingly, it's actually lower than the critics score. It's 73%.
Wow.
Yeah, so
Okay. All right. My logic was a bit skewed.
yeah, clearly people were too distracted by Danny DeVito's teeth rather than Michelle Pfeiffer's leather.
That's true. He was pretty weird in that movie.
Pretty creepy.
Yeah, very unsettling. Whenever you put that man in a top hat, it's kind of like, ooh.
I was what, specifically the top hat and not anything else? Okay.
Yes. No, specifically Danny DeVito's characters with the top hats are a bit unsettling. So, like, what was it? Big Fish. He was in Dumbo. He's always in a ridiculous top hat in Tim Burton films. Are we talking about the same guy?
Yes, we are. But I'm just blown away by the revelation that you find top hats creepy and not, the overall makeup and teeth.
The complete
I'm just saying.
Tim Burton atmosphere.
Yeah, his the teeth and the makeup are terrifying, but the top hat is an uncanny pattern that appears in his most unsettling characters. He doesn't have the teeth in the other ones.
I'm just taken aback by that. This is a fascinating revelation.
Yeah, the top hat is the trigger. Okay, I see.
Yeah.
And it's actually why she was crying during her Oscar speech. There's somebody in the audience with the top hat. Just
Specifically Danny DeVito just sitting there staring me down.
No penguin makeup, just Danny DeVito. Regular street clothes, but a top hat.
Yep, you'd be uncomfortable too.
That probably would be quite unnerving. So, okay, we're going to jump forward another 3 years to Batman Forever. And we have recasted Batman at this point.
Val Kilmer.
Yep, Val Kilmer. And so Batman Forever features the villains Jim Carrey's Riddler and Tommy's Two-Face and a whole plethora of new characters. But Nat, what do you think the critics gave Batman Forever?
Let's see if I can get it on the nail again, shall we? I'm just transcending into the space where I will be able to see the exact numbers. I'm going to go with the critics giving it a 72.
72.
That didn't sound very reassuring, Callum.
I do my best not to sound unassuring. Hogan, what do you reckon?
I know of those movies, this one was my least favorite, so I'm going to say a 67.
Well, your instincts are correct. However, it is 38%.
Whoa!
Wow.
Yep.
That
Quite a
is...
drop. This one was just, everything was just kind of off about it. Val Kilmer, I think he did the best he could have done, but he just personally was kind of a weird choice for Batman. And then Jim Carrey's Riddler is even kind of weird, and Two-Face is just a strange character.
I was gonna say, I feel like that's exactly what Nat wants from.
You thought Jim Carrey's Riddler was weird?
Yeah, even for him is what I mean.
Oh my goodness, I didn't know they hated it that much.
Yeah, that's not well received at all.
That one's also the first one with Robin too, and it's just so much going on in that one film.
It's definitely a very different style to the Burton films.
Was that one also directed by Tim Burton, or was that one of the ones where he was just an executive producer, like?
Um,
Because I know eventually he stopped directing them and was just on like they just had his name on it.
yeah, so I can't remember. I'm pretty sure there's some production history or drama going on there.
Because like Burton's not really a fan. He doesn't really do the sequels and stuff, though, right? Did he even stay on for that?
It was Joel Schumacher, wasn't it? Who did? Yeah. He replaced Tim Burton, and then he was the one who oversaw and directed the next two movies, so Batman Forever and Batman and Robin.
Right.
So a very, very like an extreme tonal shift, and especially if you're expecting Burton, or you've become accustomed to his version, and then you go to this bright, goofy style. Not that there aren't goofy moments in the others, but yeah.
Well, the other ones before that are really dark. Like everything about it is dark. The colors are all pretty muted. It's all like happening, like everything when they're outside is at night, and just all the color is dark. And then that one, it's like Riddler is bright lime green, and then Two-Face is like all pink and white and like really bright.
Yes, there's a tonal shift, and clearly the critics didn't like it. But what do you think the audience made of it, Hogan? Do you want to give us the audience score?
Well, if that one was so bad, I'm going to say a 43.
43. Okay, and for you, Nat?
Well, if we're going off of the pattern that the critics like the Batman movies more than the audience, that's just literally happened that one time with that last one, but we'll keep going. We'll imagine that it's more than more of a pattern there. I'm going to go down. So was it, critics gave it 38?
38%, yeah.
Okay, so I think that the audience gave it 29.
Well, you're actually fairly close. It's 32%.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sound logic, and that was not a guess.
So we are going to move on and do Batman and Robin as well to round off that era of Batman. This is the George Clooney Batman. So he's Val Kilmer. Good old Arnie as Mr. Freeze with his incredible puns. We also have...
Nice to meet you.
Yes. The wonderful Poison Ivy.
All right.
Yes, and also Bane. He's not really much of a character, to be honest, but we have him. It's still, I find this movie hilarious to watch. If you watch it with a group of friends, it's a great time. If you're trying to watch it for like real cinema, that's questionable.
This was when I was a little kid. This was the only Batman movie that I had, and so this was when I was like 6 or 7. I would just watch this on repeat all the time. I think that's where it started. I'd just find one movie that I liked and I'd watch it over. So I've seen this movie a ton of times. I think the last time that I watched it was when I was like 17, and I was like, this did not age well.
I will guaranteed you will enjoy it more now than you did when you were 17.
Oh yeah.
But yes, so Batman and Robin 1997. Hogan, do you want to give us the critic score?
I feel like it's got to be worse. I'm going to say like 25.
25. Nat?
I'm so upset that the last one got a very low score. So yeah, it's got to be worse, right? It's got to be, especially with the raving review Callum just gave it.
I just want to point out that the batsuit had nipples on it.
Yeah,
that's true.
The nipple batsuit
And a very defined bum.
Yes. Yes.
This is what you remember from watching it on repeat.
Yes.
This is why you watched it on repeat now.
Yes.
This is why I love Batman. Oh, okay.
Even
Alrighty.
Robin's outfit had nipples on it.
It's so unnecessary. I'm gonna go with around 20.
Okay, so
Not
Is
like
that
around
20?
20, like a round 20.
Okay. Around 20 somewhere, like could be
20.5.
24, could be 26.
We'll go 20.5.
20,
Final
give or
answer.
take 20.
20. Well, it's actually 12%.
Ooh.
Ew, nobody deserves that. Nobody deserves that. Critics, stop. Leave them alone. Let them have nipples on the suits if they want to. Free the nipples. Let it
Yeah, I mean,
happen.
well, they killed
Give me the
Alfred.
nip.
Of course the critics didn't like it.
The ultimate sin.
Actually, no, I think he does live or something. I can't remember.
Yeah, they like fake kill him or whatever.
He's like about to die, and then at the very end of the movie, he's okay or something. I can't remember.
Yeah. Well, I just think on pure comedy value alone with Arnie pulling the puns. I mean, it depends if you're going objective or subjective, because subjectively, it deserves, it's up there. It's fresh. But yeah, on an objective level, yeah.
12%.
Yeah.
Oh.
So with that in mind, how do you think the audience viewed this movie? Hogan, as your childhood.
I'm going to say the same. I'm going to say audience rated it the same. 12.
12. Nat, what say ye?
I hope they were nicer. No, surely they fell for the thirst trap that was Uma Thurman. So I'm going to give them a 13. Or a 12.5, or just a, no. I feel like 12 would be the
12.1.
Oh, or did they? Oh, no. I think I'm gonna agree with Hogan. Can I just say the same number? Can we say the same number? Because then we just both get points. Why haven't we just been doing this from the beginning?
Just do that every
The
time.
answer is no. That's not how the game works. Okay.
Okay, so I have to pick either end. Fine. Yeah, we'll stick with 13. I have faith in humanity. I think we pushed them over the line. We were like, you know what? It's fine that they have cartoonishly added nipples to this bat suit. It's fine. Arnold Schwarzenegger deserves to use those puns. I really hope that they scored it better. Please tell me that they scored it better, Callum. I'm very upset.
16%.
Yay!
Just barely.
Just barely. So I mean, the critics were fairly in line on this one. They all thought it was trash.
Yeah, and I think even them making it, they knew that they weren't going to make another one because it does not leave anything open for like a sequel. It just closes off nicely, and they're like, let's wrap it up and not make any more of these.
let's bury this in the backyard and never dig it back up again. Oh
yeah.
It's funny because I'm surprised that they didn't hand it back to Tim Burton and then say, please save us, make us more money. But it's funny because I remember there were so many action figures available from this movie.
Yeah.
I used to have the Bane, I used to have the Batman and Robin with all their glorious nipples. I had the Bat car from that movie. I had Arnie as Mr. Freeze, and so. But I remember that being so big, and I feel like that's exactly what the studio
wanted.
felt like superhero movies were just a way to sell like toys.
It worked.
Yeah.
And like those characters are very like the costumes and everything, like the car, the Batmobile, sorry, not just a car, my bad. But like, yeah, they're all very merchable, sellable images. Like surely, even if they only got 12% on Rotten Tomatoes, then they made a good buck off of it.
And I think a lot of it too was the animated series was on TV at the time as well. Like shortly before, I think it had probably ended around the time that Batman and Robin came out. And I remember the animated series was performing really well, and they were making a lot of toys off of that too. So they were kind of like, we don't really need to keep both of these going.
Yeah, well, there you go. Those are the pre-Nolan Batman movies. I can tell you now that the Nolan films were better received all around.
Well, I sure hope so.
Better than 12%.
Yeah.
Poor people who worked on that film. They deserve better. I'm mad for them. I mean, Did they? But they did. Yeah. Everybody deserves better than 12%.
That's pretty gutting. All right, now for the final round, and we're back to
Movie news highlights of the week.
And we'll start this round with Nat. Nat, whose set photos showcase a dramatic transformation for their designer stars?
Oh, I know this one. It's Jared Leto, right? That gem of a man he looks insane for the Gucci movie, right?
The Gucci movie.
The Gucci movie. He looks insane. Like, do you remember that? Okay, you probably don't, but One Direction released a song called "The Best Song Ever," and in the video, they all dressed up as different characters, and one of them dressed up as as a Hollywood producer, and he looked terrifying, and that's what Jared Leto looks like.
Well, I have not seen that video, but he does look completely different. But yes, this is the news that set photos from. Unfortunately, it's not called the Gucci movie because that would be kind of funny.
Yeah,
but it's the House of Gucci.
It's like the Goofy movie, but they're all just in designer.
The Gucci. It definitely rolls off the tongue, but yes, no. Set photos from the House of Gucci have surfaced, revealing a first look at Adam Driver and Lady Gaga, but also showing Jared Leto's latest transformation. So, first of all, is this a movie you are interested in seeing?
I think it's going to be a hard pass for me. It just doesn't sound like that interesting of a story.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
Murder, mystery, fashion.
Is that what it is? A murder mystery?
Yeah. So the what was it? Was it just the guy who made the brand? Who the brand is named after? His missus hired a hitman to kill him, and he shot him on the steps of their big glorious house. Or was that Versace? Apparently, a lot of Italian designers do this to people because there's that big Netflix series about the Versace killer or whatever happened there, and so they're making. Is that actually just a thing that Italian designers do?
What, murder?
Yeah, or am I completely wrong?
I don't know the plot details of this movie, but I will believe you. I am like Hogan. I have not much interest in a movie. I mean, I'm not really into brands, so it's not really my thing. However, I'd be more than happy to see this build up to a designers assemble movie featuring Louis Vuitton, Versace, and Gucci kind of trying to murder each other. That would
all
be fun.
bonding over the name Martha. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Let's go. No, I think it's going to be. I'm excited to see Miss Gaga again on the big screen. I think she did well in A Star Is Born, and I think it's just cool to see her kind of stepping into film. And it's just the world of designer brands is insane and very foreign to me anyways, but it looks cool. Who's the other guy? Adam Driver. Adam Driver. Yeah, and him, just seeing the set photos of him and her, they look so glamorous. And in the nicest way, I can't wait to see somebody get murdered. That's just what's gonna. You can see it. It's gonna be dramatic. It's gonna be all out. It's gonna be fabulous. I'm very excited. I don't know. A murder mystery just gets people very excited nowadays.
It's like Meet the Kardashians would be really funny if it wasn't real, because. Because you're watching it and you're going, oh my goodness, these people exist. But if you have a movie where it's kind of like an exaggerated form of that, then it's then you can laugh at it because you're like, oh my goodness, this is insane, as opposed to So I can appreciate from that perspective.
Yeah, I also think it's cool that they've got Jared Leto in it because he's a major designer brand fiend. It's either Gucci or Versace. I'm going to guess that it's Gucci.
I think it's all of them.
Yeah, he's he's known for being that eccentric guy who dresses up at the Met Gala and goes a bit crazy. Wasn't he the one who carried around a head
Yes.
replica
his
head of
own
himself,
head.
his own head.
Yeah.
Like, he's insane.
Yeah.
He's perfect for this.
Yeah, I think Jared Leto. I mean, he's known now, isn't he, for putting on or losing weight for a role or transforming. What do you guys think of those kind of dramatic transformations? You know, Christian Bale is another person who's well known for it.
I think as long as they're like safe, like go for it.
Well, but how much do you think it actually adds to the audience investment? You know, like obviously in this one, Jared Leto is wearing full prosthetics. Do you think I've seen some people online saying they should just hire an actor who actually looks like him, looks like the person rather than spending all this time in prosthetics and whatnot? How do you guys feel about that?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think often it can be done well. You know, you look at like The Darkest Hour with Gary Oldman playing Winston Churchill. I think he did great, and the prosthetics look good, and a good combination of him looking close enough, plus the prosthetics, plus his acting makes it a great performance. I think that's really what it comes down to. If he can pull off the performance, great. But I mean, when I looked at the pictures, I thought he looked more like Pablo Escobar than like Gucci himself. It just kind of, I don't know.
True.
I didn't really see the character in it, and I think he's too much of a weird actor for me to be able to take it seriously. So I don't know.
Yeah, I see that. I think I agree with the people who are like, just hire an actor who fits the aesthetic you're looking for. Like, if they can, as Hogan was saying, like give the performance that the character needs. Because sometimes you've got like just the A-listers who have put on weight or lost weight for a role, and they're just not that great in it, when you know that there's somebody who looks the part who could do it just as well, who just wouldn't sell as many tickets. But I think it was a smart move for this one, particularly because he's got all the hype around him. You know, like I said, he's the guy who carried his head at the Met Gala, and he was I think he was like dripping in Gucci at the time. So it makes sense from like an advertising point of view to have him associated with the film somehow.
It was probably him auditioning for the role, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Gucci's marketing team is like, hey, we already have a partnership with Jared, so if you can make sure that he's in this film, that would be great.
Yeah. Just please and thank you. He must be there. Where's Jared? Somebody get Jared.
I actually hope that he also cameos in the movie as himself.
They feature him wearing those clothes.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, I don't know how I feel, to be honest, because I think, especially when it comes to putting on weight, or even, you know, like Christian Bale, like, I don't know if you've seen the Mechanic. Yeah. He lost so much weight in the, you know, he's skeletal. And
he was like 125 pounds or something like that.
Yeah, it's insane. I don't know how much that actually adds to it. It's kind of, we were talking about this last episode when it comes to action. It's like, it is a cool extra, but sometimes I feel like it almost takes you out of the movie because you're distracted by knowing that person. I already know the actor, and I'm distracted by the fact that he looks so different, if you know what I mean.
Well, then they're not doing their job, because they're not like portraying this other person. You're still seeing them as them. So that, I guess, makes it extra hard on the actor to make sure that they're, you know, not giving a hint that it's themselves, which then brings you back to the whole, maybe you should have gotten another actor to do it. But I don't know. I see no problem with it as long as they're safe with how they drop the weight or how they gain the weight, and they're doing it for, you know, the performance in general. I'm sure it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. Yep.
Yeah, I think when it comes to Christian Bale, there's no safety involved in his dieting. It's just gain or lose, do whatever you got to do.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like I say, I think you already have to have a certain level of, you know, like, because obviously we're watching actors, so and especially well-known actors, we know who they are. So you're already having to look past that. So I don't know. For me, that's more distracting than just being like, look, I know you're not the real person. Just you act the part rather than, you know, necessarily need to look exactly the same. But I also appreciate it when they make the effort to make them look accurate. So
yeah, and it is kind of the nice thing about the prosthetics too, is that it makes them a little bit harder to recognize. Like I mentioned with Gary Oldman with Winston Churchill. It's like he's less recognizable as himself. And so whether he's gained or lost weight to fit into that role, you don't really think about it as much as seeing him as a different person because he doesn't look like himself. So if they can pull that off and you're not seeing Jared Leto through the performance so much, it could work out to their benefit, but I think that's a pretty hard thing to do.
So, well, we'll wait and see. Okay, so now I have a clue for Hogan. Who's getting ready to steal the magic?
Steal the magic.
Ooh. No, I don't know. That's very vague. There's a lot of magic stealers out there, Callum.
Do you have another hint for me?
So this is your hint. His arch enemy is a doctor.
Oh, is this I can't remember the actor's name, but the guy from Doctor Strange who will play Mordo.
Yeah, you're quite right. His name is a bit hard to pronounce. I'm not entirely sure whether this is correct, but I think it is. It's Chiwetel Ejiofor. I mean, his surname I find easier to remember, so Ejiofor. I'll call him from now on. But yes, Ejiofor has headed over to start work on Doctor Strange 2, Multiverse of Madness, and finally reprising his role as Carl Mordo. So far, there have been 9 MCU movies since the first Doctor Strange, although that will likely be up. Yeah, it'll likely be up to 12 by the time it releases.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah. I thought Doctor Strange was one of the most recent ones. It is one of the most. Gross. My brain.
I also felt the same. I was looking it up because I was just curious, and it happened 9 movies ago.
When did Doctor Strange come out? 2017 or 2018?
2017.
Wow.
That's insane.
So did you guys enjoy the first movie?
Yeah.
I did. I still consider it one of my favorite outside of the Avenger movies. One of my favorite MCU movies, I should say.
I'm in the same boat. I have no problem with it. Yeah.
We already know you're a fan of Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yep. Penguin.
Yeah.
Penguin. That's so good. So dumb.
Yep. Did you enjoy Ejiofor's character though?
He was the one that walks away at the end, right? All dramatic. So is he coming back as the bad guy?
So they definitely teased him being the next big bad, going around killing and draining sorcerers, hence steal magic.
Oh yeah, because he's in one of the post-credits scene, right?
Oh really?
Yeah.
Which one?
So there's the paraplegic guy who uses magic to walk and to heal himself, and he's the one playing basketball. Well, Mordo goes and takes his magic away and leaves him a cripple.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I did like his character. I thought that was cool because he was like best mates with old Docky Strange for the whole movie, and then he does the big 180 at the end and storms off because he doesn't agree with what you did. It's bad time, Lord.
Yeah.
And then gets all upset about it. So I think that's cool because Doctor Strange is being hyped up as this one of the most powerful beings, if not in the whole Avengers squad. And so having sort of his counterpart be the big bad makes sense to me. Someone who has the same training and almost same level or could achieve the same level of power because he did the same thing makes sense. And that'll be fun. We'll get more spinny, funny, glowy circles. I'm ready for this.
It's also interesting, because it seems to be, just from the little bit you see him at the end of the film, is that he's driven more by the purity of their order. Yeah. Following the rules strictly and using their powers in the way that it's meant to be. And that's what upset him at the end of the movie was that, he didn't...
Gone back on the letter of the law.
Yeah, and so it would be really interesting to see that where it's not necessarily he's just driven by his own selfishness, but more that he's driven by this is how the order should be, and I don't like the way you're taking it, and that it's kind of radicalized him in the opposite direction.
Yeah, and it makes sense. It's a very human way to react to what happened, and that'll make him super relatable as a character, make him a good villain. We've tied it back to the Venom situation at the beginning. You're welcome. You're welcome.
It all comes back to Venom.
One eternal round.
All roads lead to Venom, as the saying goes. Yeah. Well, so that's the thing. We don't really know. I'm wondering I'm not sure whether he will actually have a large role because, I mean, obviously the title Multiverse of Madness kind of, and, with all the rumors about WandaVision, Spider-Man 3 all being connected, and it hints at a much bigger threat than I think Mordo could be. So we don't know the level of his role, and I almost think that's the problem with having this interconnected universe now, is there's so many characters that, like I said, it's been 9 movies since we had the first Doctor Strange film, and we had them teasing this conflict with Mordo, and I think the MCU's almost moved on from that kind of level of threat, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
They've just been on the back burner for so long with all the other movies coming the way. And I think now as well, we then have to question what Mordo's been doing the whole time and why that hasn't impacted the rest of the MCU. Yeah.
I wonder also where it fits in the timeline, if they're going to have it be after all of this, or if it's actually going to be directly following the first Doctor Strange movie. Or
I think personally, I think they have to keep on pressing forward. You can't just keep on doing Black Widow movies that, flash back to, before. And especially, I mean, that's what they did with Captain Marvel, right? They said it
true.
Before the first Iron Man movie, and then it created plot holes. So, I feel like every time they retroactively go back and create a story, it damages their own lore and universe more. So I think the preference is to steer away from that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Oh, that's insane. 9 movies already. Oh, I think you guys were talking about it. I don't remember which episode, but I think I heard you guys talking about what they're going to do with the MCU and how many characters they've got now. How the threat level of each villain changes too frequently. I think I was listening to you. Maybe it was another professional podcast that I got confused with. But it
was definitely ours. Okay.
Yeah, but
I'm wondering if maybe I was listening to a better, more organized, more popular.
But it was
how dare you?
But that's an interesting conversation there that I enjoyed listening to, whether it was you guys or not. But it's just where did all those big bad guys go when Thanos was around? And are they just going to pop back up again? Are they going to be even worse now? Have they just been hiding in the shadows training? I hate that when they're just they could have been helping out, but they've just been hiding, doing the old training montage for years, and then they come back and they're this big bad, and you're like, oh, well, that's just a bit of a cop-out. So especially when they're introducing the multiverse and all these different friggin' timelines and parallel universes, the options are endless, and that is what is a bit terrifying about it, because they could get it so wrong so easily.
It's a good point though. Why didn't, when Iron Man did a snap and brought and destroyed all of Thanos and those villains at the end of Endgame, why wouldn't he snap out at least all the known villains that they know? You know what I mean?
Every evil person ever gone, boom.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm not that. They haven't explained that would be possible, but surely if it's just people that he's even aware of, like Thanos and all his army, then Tony is aware of a lot more villains as well that deserve to be snapped out. So, yeah. Well, there you go.
I think that one they could easily explain away to be look, he was under immediate threat, and that was all he was thinking about, It'd be easy to just kind of sweep it under that rug rather than being he really took the time to think out what he was about to do.
Wait a second. I just got to get this list of bad guys in my head. One second. Burning away. His arm is crisping
up. Arm is
up.
currently burning me alive, but let me take another 10, 15 minutes to put my thoughts together.
I'd like to snap my mom and my dad.
Do you have a piece of paper I could write down some bullet points?
Yeah, fair enough. But still, I think, come on, Tony.
It is a good question, and it would be interesting to think, and maybe he did, and we don't know how it affects their universe going forward.
Yeah, it's just interesting that you go, all right, well, we snap everybody out and everybody's in mourning, but actually, do you really want to put everything back the way it was? And hashtag Thanos was right. But yeah, so moving on, I think we're all looking forward to Doctor Strange 2, at least for the visuals and for Benasnatch Cumberbund. And
do we know, is that movie supposed to come out before the next Spider-Man movie?
No, it'll be after.
It will be after? Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I mean, Doctor Strange 2 hasn't officially started production yet, whereas Spider-Man No Way Home is well into production. So I presume that it's supposed to be released after. So we shall wait and see. I'll open this next clue up to either of you. So first person to jump in with the right answer gets the point. Who's getting ready to give himself a big pat on the back?
What?
I'll give you a hint.
Yep, let's hear it.
This person ruined going to swim at the beach for thousands of people with his movie that we've referenced.
Is this going back to Jaws? Spielberg?
Yes, you're right. Hogan.
I don't know what about Spielberg, but is it Spielberg?
Yes, Steven Spielberg is directing a movie about his own childhood, which will star Michelle Williams. Yeah.
Oh, pat on the back. Gotcha.
Yeah, he's literally giving himself a pat on the back by making a movie about himself.
I guess if you
kind
can,
of an interesting
might as
concept.
well.
Yeah, well, so that's my first question: is he the right person to direct this?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, that's kind of like saying you're not allowed to write an autobiography. It's just his form of doing that. So
I think all directors should do that. I think that would be so cool to see.
Is it just to see what they think of themselves?
Yeah, exactly. Like you'll see them through their eyes and then you'll see everything about them, because you'll English teacher that ish and you'll see it and you'll be like, oh, we used this color because of bloody blah and he used this framing because of bloody blah, and you're like, oh, this man's a narcissist, or this guy doesn't think enough of himself, he's awesome. That's what'll come from it. I think that is yes, if anybody's going to make a movie about a director, it should be the director themselves, or a fun collaboration of a bunch of different. Oh, that's insane, I'm tripping out. That's crazy.
All of their closest director friends make a movie about
them. Or their worst enemies.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? He portrays a story from one angle, and then his director friend from down the line who got betrayed at the start is like, no, I'm going to share my story of how it happened, and he shoots the exact same movie, but from his perspective. Oh my goodness. Insanity.
That actually sounds amazing. I would 100% be down for that. You know how Hollywood kind of, they get wind of the same ideas and you end up having similar movies come out at the same time, like different studio will make a pirate movie and then a couple of months later they make a pirate movie. That's why we had 2 Jungle Books released so close together. And but imagine that, but literally from the 2 different perspectives of one where I'm awesome and one where he sucks.
Yeah.
That sounds
and then
great. Yeah.
the sequel of the first guy's movie would be Why the Other Guy Sucks. And
they just go back and forth.
The ultimate
that would
pity
be
battle.
So cool.
It's like a rap battle between directors.
You're just seeing this drama play out, but they're hundreds of millions of dollars put into films to write about the other person.
It's so good. It's so pity. I love it.
It's what is it when you make there's you're making a diss track in the form of a feature length film.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm in. I'm sold. Where do I invest?
Yeah, you know what? I'm down. I was skeptical at first, and you've totally sold me, Nat.
Yes.
Have a script on my desk.
Yeah.
Surely that's what this is all about. But if it's anything less, I will be very upset.
Well, to be honest, so it's not like he had a very exciting upbringing. He grew up in the States as an Orthodox Jew. Although, I mean, he left the practice as soon as he could. And then he made home movies. So we'd literally be watching a film about a kid making films.
No drama.
Yeah, so I don't know. And then, like to make it dramatic, you have to go, like Bohemian Rhapsody or the Tolkien biopic movie. They always, end up bending the truth to make it more cinematic. And I kind of feel like, what's the point of watching something factual if it twists the truth?
Yeah.
Especially because that's how all of Spielberg's movies are, is they're very like adventurous or exciting or emotional. Like Spielberg coming out with a movie that's just like, here's my boring childhood and how I got to where I am now. Like, I'm curious. I'll probably watch it, but I'm interested to see how it.
I'll only watch it if a rival director steps up and
makes the same movie.
The antithesis of his movie. Yeah.
Him and George Lucas have a falling out in between now and then, and George Lucas is like, I'm writing the next movie.
Incredible.
Yes. Yeah, done. So, on my final question, I want you guys to imagine you're making a drama out of your own exciting childhood. Who would you get to star in the movie as the titular character? Nat or Hogan? Who would you get to play yourselves?
Jack Black.
Okay.
Just kidding, but wouldn't that be great?
I'm expecting him to lose some weight for the role and to grow a bit.
He'll just be in heels the whole time. Jack Black in heels. Who would I cast as myself?
Yeah, I think if it was going to be my childhood, I would cast young, Home Alone-aged Macaulay Culkin.
Yes!
Oh, yeah.
To play the child version of myself.
Okay, yeah, I see that. It's either that or the kid from Little Geniuses.
Yeah, the kid with the glasses.
Yeah.
I would hire the obnoxious kid from the train on Polar Express to play me.
Oh, that kid. I hated him.
Yeah, he's perfect.
Yeah, but we'd have to dye his hair blonde.
Yeah.
Hogan, isn't that right?
That's right.
White blonde.
You know, it's funny. When I was like a little kid, like 3, 4, or 5, I did have very blonde hair. And then when I turned like 10, my hair got really dark. So.
And then you dyed it white blonde again.
That's true. I bleached it.
The real Slim Shady.
So the kid, whoever it is, they'd have to be willing to go through the full range of hair color.
Okay. Nat, so you're sticking with Jack Black?
Probably. I was thinking if we're going, because I'm still a child. I'm only 21. I'm a child. But for my childhood, I'd go with Zendaya from Shake It Up. Her outfits were absolutely ridiculous, and I love it a bit. And so I'm going to say Zendaya.
I totally see that. I feel like you are actually weirdly similar.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. I'm gonna keep that soundbite, and I'm gonna send it to Zendaya and be like, "Hey, look at this highly esteemed podcast creator telling you that we are the same, so we should like hang out and be best friends."
Yeah. And obviously for me, it would be Tom Hardy.
Right, of course.
Because we're just so weirdly similar. Yeah.
I thought you would have said a younger Harry Styles.
Oh my goodness!
Nice. The Harry Styles from the music video that I was talking about earlier.
This is the last time I invite you on this podcast, Hogan. Okay.
Yeah, I've got way too much dirt on you. I could say anything at any moment.
Do it. Make a tell-all movie about it. Make a movie about how much you know about Callum, and then I'll
make the video about Callum's childhood.
Well, you better be prepared for my sequel. Okay, and with that, Nat is currently on 17 points, and Hogan is just trailing behind with 16.
Really?
Oh, well
I had
done.
16?
Go team!
I felt like I got absolutely obliterated.
I don't know how the points work on this thing. I just come in and I spout nonsense, and then he gives me points, and then I leave.
That's a similar process to how the points go. So, yes. Which means it's time for some bonus points. So these next clues will be quickfire, so they're available to both my guests, and a last chance for Hogan to crawl his way back to victory. So, which Bond villain is being celebrated this week?
Yaphet? Yeah, that guy. They had like
Nat, yes.
yeah. He
You're
was,
right.
I saw a thing on Instagram, and I think he was the first African American actor to kill a white cop in a movie, and they were like, "Wow, what a moment in history!" And he's passed away, and they were very sad. So, Yaphet.
Wow, I actually did not know that. Yes, Yaphet Kotto has passed away at the age of 81. I didn't know that at all.
Yeah.
He was best known for starring in the original Alien movie, also Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare, and for playing Mr. Big, the Bond villain of Live and Let Die. Fun fact for you guys, as we remember him, he was also offered the role of Picard in Star Trek and Lando in Star Wars, but turned them down so that he didn't get stuck in sci-fi.
Wow. Good on him.
Yeah.
But those are two hefty roles to give up.
Yep. I think he didn't regret giving up Star Trek, but did regret giving up Lando. But then we also got Billy D. Williams, and like I say, it's nice to share the roles around. And but he was worried about becoming a one-hit wonder where he would be known for this big sci-fi films, and then nobody would hire him for any other kind of film, and then eventually he would just not have work. So. And, it worked out for him. So there you go. But definitely it doesn't have the same level of fame as those other characters, of course. So for our next item, which Canadian menace has been appropriating Irish culture?
It's Ryan Reynolds.
Ugh.
You would only describe that man as a Canadian menace.
Yeah, you would.
I've been on often enough to know that you have a personal vendetta against Canada's sweetheart, which is Ryan Reynolds.
Nat loses a point for saying his name.
No,
but
fine.
yes,
take away as many as you want. You can't take away my power of speech and Ryan Reynolds.
You edit all of this out, okay? Remove her freedom of speech. Yes, no, quite right. That is the news that the Canadian menace has been celebrating St. Patrick's Day by getting drunk and watching his Green Lantern movie for the first time.
I saw that tweet.
Surely not.
Yep.
Yeah, I saw him saying, "I'm doing something I've never done before."
Apparently, he never watched it, which fair enough. But I'm surprised because I figured he would have gone to at least the premiere, although maybe the critics' reviews were harsh enough that he was like, you know what, it's a sinking ship. I'm gonna jump.
Yeah, it's probably one of those things where he showed up to take the photos at the premiere and then just bounced.
Is that the movie that he met Blake Lively on? Is that where the romance started?
I mean, they did co-star together. I'm not entirely sure whether that's.
I think that was where they met, because I remember he talked about it and said that they were both dating other people and went on a double date, and then they got connected.
I mean, he is punching well above his weight. But anyway. Moving on, and we're on to our final item this week. And given the minus points and etc., Nat and Hogan are both on 16.
You actually took away points.
Anyone's game.
And why would you say that name? So we'll make it interesting. And how about this last clue is worth 10 points. First person in takes victory today. Who's finally reversed the snap?
Someone in the MCU, right? Someone to do with it.
No. This is specifically news to do with Avengers Endgame.
Oh, it's doing better or going to do better than Avatar. Or Avatar's going to kick it off the
Avatar.
I think I'm probably actually going to have to give that one to Hogan because he used the correct tense.
Oh, you're just against me and my Ryan Reynolds situation, and I'm okay with that. I don't need your points.
You said it again.
One day he's going to hear this, and he's going to be like, I'm so happy that Natalie stood up for me in that moment. So you know what? Take your points there, Callum, and do what you want with them. But just know that Ryan's great. That's all. I'm going to direct a movie about how great he is, and then you better come up with a reverse there.
Yes, so Hogan got the news correct. James Cameron's Avatar has retaken the box office record from Avengers Endgame after a re-release in China. So that's $2.833 billion so far, replacing Endgame's $2.797 billion.
Wow.
Some might call that cheating, but Endgame had an extended run / re-release, and in fact, Avatar already re-released an extended edition of the movie back in 2009, 2010. Anyway, so Avatar is just cheating again to beat the other cheats. So I'm sure that Disney will announce a new Endgame theatrical run soon.
Well, that's the thing is Disney owns both films anyway, right? So I mean, it's just them fighting with themselves.
Yeah.
They're like, ooh.
I mean, that's a lot of money. Who even cares about some arbitrary headline?
Yeah.
But it doesn't even speak to the quality of the movies.
I'll tell you who, James Cameron.
Yep, that is definitely true. You imagine his movie about himself. That would be interesting for sure.
Wow. That would be a journey.
Maybe he'll make that in between Avatar 6 and 7.
Yeah, and then literally everybody else who has worked with him will then make a movie to get back at his movie. You know?
Exactly.
There you go. So Avatar is back as the reigning champion. And that's it for this episode. So, final scores on the doors. Nat made a valiant effort this week with 16 points. But it's Hogan who deserved victory today with 26 points.
Yay!
That's right. I definitely earned it.
Well done.
Congratulations, Hogan. You've won yourself a true feeling of achievement for at least the next week.
I definitely didn't win out of Callum's spite.
And Nat needs to go home and rethink her life. But
I already am home, and my life is fine. Thank you very much. With Ryan Reynolds in it, well and truly.
Congratulations, Hogan. So, Hogan and Nat, was this a good week for the movie business? Do you reckon that the news of this past week deserves the official seal of approval?
Yes.
I think if we compared it to like this time a couple years ago, it would be a pretty slow movie news week, but I think this is probably the most exciting movie news we've gotten in a while.
Personally, I think it could be better. It's funny, we do really go in ebbs and flows at the moment because there's less of a steady stream of different news as well. So for me, this week, I'm not sure I'll give it the official seal of approval, but
I think I like that there was like minus you hating on it, us hating on it, the team hating on it. There was no mention of the Snyder Cut, which was good. like every time I've been on,
minus
somebody's
the intro.
Yeah,
minus the intro, but like it wasn't actually in the questions. So like,
So either way, it's a win for you. Yeah, okay. That's our new standard of excellence. Did the news mention Snyder at all? Yes. So if Hogan and Nat have given it, they've outvoted me, and so this week I get that seal of approval.
That is the sound of the seal.
So, for our audience out there, what was your news highlight of the week? Did we cover it? Did you agree with anything we had to say at all? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed the show, please subscribe to our podcast on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, or whatever platform you're listening on. It would really help us out. Well, thanks for joining me, guys, as well as everyone at home. And we'll see all you next time. Yeah, you've actually just made me think. I'll just leave it at that.
Okay.
You've made me think, and nobody's ever done that before, so thank you.
You're welcome.